everyone, welcome to the T-shirt transfer paper power half hour brought to you by Condé Systems Incorporated. I'm Doug DeWitt, transfer paper product manager here at Condé Systems and your humble host. Thank you for tuning in today and welcome to today's episode. Today we are going to go ahead and test drive the brand new George Knight DK14S swing away heat press. Now this press is designed to be a portable heat press because of the limited weight of only about 65 pounds, which, you know, hey, for a heat press is pretty light. So we are going to test it with some of our favorite transfer papers today, put it through its paces, see if it's a worthy addition, especially if you operate on an on-site basis. We're going to see if this one will stand up to the rigors, so to speak. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to preheat my platen, and we are going to experiment with my very first paper of the day, which is the Neenah Image Clip Laser Light. Now this is a 2-sheet self-weeding transfer paper for white or light colored garments, and it's for color laser printers and color laser copiers. Got our platen preheated. If we can jump to a close-up of the press. Okay, I've got my protective cover sheets, and I am going to take my printed imaging sheet or A sheet, and then I've got my B sheet or transfer sheet that has the clear based emulsion. Put one sheet on top of the other, and we are going to press these two sheets together between 200 to 225 Fahrenheit for 20 seconds with a light to medium pressure. Now, that's one of the reasons I decided to work with this paper right off the bat, because one, we only have one press and we got to work up in temperature. We've only got half an hour to explain things. And because it requires such a low temperature and low pressure, it's a good test point to see if we got a press that can deliver consistent results. So I'm going to peel away my B sheet. And while it might be tough to see, we should have a perfect indentation of our original design in the B sheet. And you'll notice the haze or residue that covers the printed toner on my image sheet. Now what I'm feeling for are what I would call granules, what would basically be excess emulsion if we use too much heat or too much pressure. But that transfer feels pretty good. I'm going to set that off to the side. And I'm going to grab another set because the true mark of a good press would be its ability to deliver consistent results. So let's put two more sheets in using same time, same temperature, same pressure, and hopefully we should get the same result. Again, this is the George Knight DK14S swing away heat press. For this particular product, which is Neenah Image Clip Laser Light, I'm pressing at about 220 to 225 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 seconds, light to medium pressure. And when the timer goes off, I'm removing my cover sheet and I'm immediately peeling the transfer or B sheet from the imaging or A foil sheet. And again, I feel like I've got some pretty consistent results here. So, given the fact that we're able to use this brand new George Knight heat press with what can be a finicky self-weeding product like Neenah Image Clip Laser Light, that's a pretty good start in my opinion. If we can get back to me, Rodeo Bo, thank you very much. Oh, by the way, Sprite is not with us today. Normally I have my Space Monkey riding shotgun with me, operating mission control, but she's on a well-deserved vacation. So riding with me today is Rodeo Bo behind all the controls. Bo, thank you for helping me out today. Speaking of controls, we're going to go ahead and readjust our controls on this George Knight, and we are going to reset the temperature. I am going to go up to 310. Lock in that temperature. And I'm going to set my timer for 1.5 minutes. Now, anybody who's a fan of the show, when you see that temperature and that time, you know what must be coming next. So for everyone else, we'll just keep the suspense, so to speak. But basically, since we have to heat up the heat press, it gives me a couple of minutes here to kind of go over some housekeeping, so to speak.
We got 2 questions on that first part.
Oh, we got 2 questions already. Well, what are the questions, Bo?
Did you mirror when you printed that?
Yes, I did mirror reverse the image. That will be in the instruction sheet, but yes, we mirrored or reversed the image.
And we have another question. What type of printer did you use to print that?
As far as the samples that I'm demonstrating today, they came off of 2 printers. I used an Oki Pro 9541WT for the laser transfers that I'm going to experiment with today. And for the inkjet transfers, I used an Epson SureColor P600. So basically an Oki and an Epson. What we're really testing is the press. Can this be a reliable heat press? Now, since this heat press has to get up to heat, Bo, thank you for rattling off the questions. If you have any more, you can shoot them in, or you can email us, ttpphh@condé.com. Since the press is heating up, we'll kind of go into some house cleaning, so to speak, because you know what we have to do here at the T-shirt Transfer Paper Power? We got to pay the power bill. First thing I wanted to tell you about, of course, is our virtual open house that is coming July 8th, 9th, 10th. Mark your calendars, especially if you're fans of this show. We will have presentations from Nina Koldenhove. We will have presentations from Forever Paper, and we're also going to have some very big news coming from ISW. So you definitely want to attend. It's free to attend, so make sure you register on our website by clicking on the web banner. That is our virtual open house. Another thing I wanted to mention, we do our webinar Wednesdays, and tomorrow we've got a good one for you, and I want to look at my notes to make sure I get this one correct. The topic is igniting your sublimation passion using a laser, and it's being taught by Miss Cheryl Kuchik at Just My Imagination Designs. Sounds like a real hot topic. I can't wait to catch that one. Might have to rate it PG-13. But anyway, it will be available tomorrow at 3 p.m. We've got a banner on the website. Click on it for more information. Make sure you attend that. Part of our Wednesday webinar series. And of course, we can't do the housekeeping and paying the bills without mentioning The Road to Sublimation Success, co-authored by our very own David Gross here at Condé Systems. Now, we all know that Father's Day is coming up. It's just around the corner. And like most dads that you know, sometimes they walk around with kind of an aimless, clueless look. Well, you can solve that problem by getting on The Road to Sublimation Success. And it lays out the blueprints. It's written by a dad for dads who sublimate. That's The Road to Sublimation Success. It's available through Condé Systems, and you can also order it on Amazon or download it through Kindle. But as an added bonus, if you order from Condé Systems, you get an autographed copy from David Gross himself. That is awesome. So that takes care of paying the power bill. What we can do now is talk about some of the features of this George Knight DK14S heat press. Now, a couple of things I wanted to mention besides the lightweight. Now, 65 pounds is heavy, don't get me wrong, but in the world of heat presses, that's pretty lightweight. But some of the features that I think make this a quality press is, like its bigger companions, the DC16 or the DK20S or the DK25, what makes a George Knight press unique is the heat coils inside of the platen. Now, most presses, if you were to take them apart, what you would find are heat coils that run up and down or side to side, so to speak. But what George Knight does is they use a zigzag coil pattern. But basically what that's going to do is it's going to create more surface area to give more consistent heat coming out of those coils and into the platen. And of course, being from George Knight, everything here is solid steel, so to speak. So it's a real awesome made press. If any of you are familiar with the predecessor to these presses, which are what they called the Jet Press series, this is a definite upgrade in construction from the Jet Press series. And as far as a retail price is concerned, you can order it off of George Knight's website for $675. You can order it off of Condé's website for $650. But the thing is, 650, 675, it's a pretty good quality press. Now, we got a 12-inch by 14-inch platen area. Now, from the world of transfers, what that means is we're regulated to 8.5 by 11 or 8.5 by 14. But like I said, if you need a good portable press, it operates off of 110 volts. It basically draws 10 amps, which is a few amps less than what would be like a DC16 or a DK20S. And if you're in an on-site situation, those 2 amps can mean the difference of being able to power your inkjet printer and your cutter, as well as having a heat press on the same circuit. So it doesn't really draw a lot of power compared to other heat presses, which I think is an interesting thing. So now that that ding meant that we're up to heat, and we are up to heat, that went up to heat pretty quick, let's experiment with our next paper, which is Forever Low Temp Laser Dark. I've got some printed A foil sheets here. I got my B sheets. I've got my protective paper. And what I'm going to try to do, if we can get back to the press here, Bo, thank you very much. What I'm going to try to do is to use the same pressure setting that got me good results with the Nina image clip and see if we can get away with it with the Forever Low Temp. Now what I'm doing here is preheating that bottom platen. I want to make sure that bottom platen is warm, and before I do my first transfer, I usually preheat the bottom platen for about 30 seconds. So we got 30 seconds in. Let's go ahead and open it up. Another little trick I like to employ is laying the B sheet down on the warm platen to drive out any moisture that might be in the B sheet. Go ahead and put the B sheet over the A foil. Cover it with a protective sheet. And we're locking it in. We're going at 310 to 330 degrees Fahrenheit, minute and a half for the 8.5 inch by 11 inch sheet. Now, if you're using a slightly bigger sheet, possibly 8.5 by 17, well, we would probably have to adjust that time to a minute 45. But remember, we've only got a 12-inch by 14-inch platen area, so whatever we decide to press has to fit within the parameters of the platen. But while this is heating up and we're focused on, one feature you'll notice that's similar to the other George Knight presses that are on the market are the digital controls here. Now, having a digital thermometer, this should be accurate within plus to minus a couple of degrees from where we set it. Much more accurate than the dial thermometer that used to be in the jet press series. So we definitely have upgraded controls as far as the temperature is concerned. The timer on the old jet press was one of those little timers that you could buy at a dollar store, literally. But we got the timer built in, so it's, you know, typical feature like you would see on most other George Knight presses, with the exception of this does not have the pressure bar indicator that you would find on a George Knight digital combo or the bigger George Knight presses like the DK20S or DK25S. That timer means we're done. Let's see how this result turns out. Remove my protective sheet. Now, as I'm removing my B sheet, if there was any dropout in emulsion where it didn't lay down in an even fashion, I would probably bump up the temperature or the pressure. If I had any toner that moved off of this A foil sheet onto the B sheet, I would probably have to reduce temperature or pressure, but that is a very clean weed out of that B sheet. So I would have to say, so far, so good with the DK14S, because if we can weed these sensitive papers like Image Clip Laser Light or the Forever Laser Dark Low Temp, well, then it's going to definitely work whenever we're operating with single sheet transfers. So let's go ahead and do another one just to make sure we can get consistent results. Swing the press over, lock it in. Okay, so a couple of things to note here. I have a digital pyrometer, also available through George Knight and through Condé, that we are going to use at some point during the presentation to test the platen temperature. Pardon me, just to make sure that the platen temperature is accurate. Again, getting back to the press itself has lifetime technical support, of course available through Condé, but also available through GeoKnight. The heating element inside of this is guaranteed for, let me see how long that warranty is while this is cooking. It's a lifetime warranty on the heat platen. It's a 5-year warranty on the frame, a 3-year warranty on the controller, and 1-year warranty on parts. But since the main element is that heating coil, like the other George Knight heat presses, the heating coil is guaranteed for the life of the press. So just wanted to cover that point. Like I said, compared to the jet press, which was this unit was originally modeled off of, George Knight, I think, has made some significant improvements to this press here. So, got a few more seconds before this transfer is done, and if we get consistent results with this, we will move on to our next paper. I love a swing away design instead of a clamshell that pops up in my face. Just from a safety standpoint, I think it's a better design. Let's see how this one is weeding. And again, just like the last one, these results are looking pretty dead on to me. Okay, so like I said, that's two pretty tough papers right off the bat that this DK14S was able to handle with little or no issue. All right, so let me get back here. Let me do my next temperature adjustment. I'm going to bump the temperature up to 350 degrees. Lock that in. I'm going to drop the time to 30 seconds. Okay, and while that is heating up, we're going to experiment with our next paper. The next paper I want to try is an inkjet transfer paper made by Nina that's called 3G Jet Opaque. Definitely want to give this a shot because this is a very popular paper. This is a solid film opaque material that will run through inkjet printers. And the nice thing about the material is it's compatible with pretty much any ink that you have within your inkjet printer. Whether it's a dye-based ink, a pigment-based ink, could be solvent, could be eco solvent, really doesn't matter. It'll work with just about any ink. And what I'm going to do here, while our heat press is heating up, I'm just going to trim away some of the excess material. One nice feature about the Nina papers having the grid back sheet is it does make it easier to cut away the excess material. Now, of course, you could also run this material through a plot cutter or vinyl cutter. You just have to print your registration marks if it's required with your particular unit. But it will cut with a standard 45-degree blade. Like I said, just a great all-around inkjet transfer paper. This is one of Rodeo Bo's favorite designs here. He absolutely loves rainbows and unicorns. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can put this on a t-shirt with the DK14S. Going to grab a t-shirt. Give me 1 second. Of course, here I am using, for demonstration purposes, a Hanes Beefy Tee 100% cotton. This is a good heavyweight shirt, but we are using an opaque material, so perhaps I should grab one in black. So we're going to go ahead and give this the old prep. We've almost got the heat press up to heat. I tell you what, it heats up pretty darn quick. Must be the fact that we're only dealing with a 12-inch by 14-inch platen area, but it gets up to heat pretty darn fast, I will say that. Okay, let me make sure my shirt is smooth. That little bing lets me know that we're at heat. And of course, I use my sticky lint roller for the area that's going to be underneath the press. Set that over there for right now. I want to drop the platen down on the shirt for a couple of seconds just to give it a quick preheat. Flattens out the area, removes any moisture that might be within the shirt. Now, to separate the film from the backing sheet, I'm going to use this trick of ripping a little corner like so, and it should just peel right off. So we'll go ahead, place the opaque material where we want it to appear. I'm going to cover the opaque with a non-stick silicone sheet, protective sheet. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to increase that pressure about half a turn because I want to use what I would call medium to heavy pressure, and that feels right. I've got my temperature set at 350 degrees because this is a 100% cotton shirt. Now, if this were a cotton poly blend or 100% polyester, I would be dropping the temperature, so to speak. But like I said, we're basically testing the press itself, not necessarily the paper. Just running through all these different temperature ranges and pressure ranges, making sure that we can get good, consistent results no matter what paper we might be using. Okay. So now at this point, I basically want to let this shirt cool down. And I'll use the hand waving technique because it's just so tried and true. How's that looking right there? Can everybody see that? Fantastic. One thing I'm definitely noticing here, I'm picking along the edges to see if the film separates from the shirt, but it looks to be on there pretty darn good if you'd ask me. So can we use the DK14 to put inkjet opaque material on the shirts? Hey, we sure can. Let's roll with some other popular papers. I'm going to go ahead and make another temperature adjustment. We're going to go up to 375. Now, as far as adjusting the temperature and adjusting the time, if you've owned a George Knight digital heat press, it's basically the same controls. You press the temperature button, the temperature flashes, use the up or down arrows to set, hit the temperature button again. When it goes solid, it's locked in. For the time, you just use the up and down arrows. Like I said, you don't have the pressure gauge like you would have on some of your more expensive George Knight presses, but overall, the digital controls seem to be pretty accurate. And like I said, at some point, we're going to test it with the digital pyrometer. But in the meantime, I'm just making an absolute mess here, but that's okay. It's all in the name of research, right? We're going to roll with our next paper. We're going to try Nina Jet Pro Soft Stretch using our George Knight DK14S press. Now, for demonstration purposes, I'm going to go ahead and try to apply the entire sheet of emulsion that's on the Jet Pro Soft Stretch inkjet transfer sheet. And we're going to a white or light t-shirt, but like I said, I just want to see if I get a consistent result. So let me go ahead and grab that white shirt now, Bo. And again, it's a Hanes Beefy Tee, 100% cotton. And if we can jump to the heat press. while the press is heating up, I'll use this time to go ahead and dress the press, so to speak. This is basically how we have to do it with the press sitting on this tabletop. So it will take a little bit of getting used to, but of course you could try to position your press for a more comfortable experience. Going to pre-press the fabric, get some of the wrinkles out of that shirt. Okay, so now we've got a nice smooth area. Let's see what temperature we are at. We are at 368 going up. Very good. I'm going to grab my sheet of Nina Jet Pro Soft Stretch. Got my image mirrored or reversed, and like I said, normally I would be trimming away this excess material if I were, making this shirt for a client, but this is for demonstration purposes. Let's see if we can apply the entire sheet. And the nice thing about this product is we'll use a cover sheet for safety purposes because this is a brand new press, but really with Jet Pro Soft Stretch, you could pretty much just come down with the platen right on top of it. But like I said, this is brand new, and for safety's sake, I'll use a protective sheet. And we're going to press this, bang, 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 to 30 seconds using a medium to heavy pressure. Now, trying to get this press shut, I would say right now I've got it set at a pretty heavy pressure. When the timer goes off, we're going to lift. We're going to give the backing sheet about 15 seconds to cool, and then we'll peel it away. So there goes timer. Let's remove that cover sheet. And like I said, basically give it about 15 seconds to cool. Give it the old wave over. Probably should have let it cool just a little longer, but this is for demonstration purposes. But as you could see, the new DK14S has no problem applying Jet Pro Soft Stretch onto your cotton or cotton poly blend garments. So we'll consider that a successful test. And I'm going to grab another t-shirt. And we are going to work with one more paper if we have time, and I know time is running short, but this is the Forever Laser Light No Cut. This is the single sheet self-weeding paper. So this paper can be finicky if you do not have the right temperature, time, and pressure. So this will be a good test of the capability of this press. Go ahead and put a t-shirt down. Now working with this product, wow, that is some heavy pressure. I'm going to back it off just a little bit. There we go. One thing that helps with the Forever Laser Light is if you go ahead and pre-press, and normally I just drop the platen down, but you really need to get this paper flat, so to speak, or get the fabric as flat as you can. So when preheating shirts with this product, I go ahead and lock in the press as opposed to just letting the platen fall down. Now we're going to press this 375 degrees for 30 seconds. I'm using a good firm pressure. The secret to using this product is when to peel the backing sheet. If you peel the backing sheet too soon, you've got areas of the design that stays on the backing sheet. It doesn't release to the garment. If you peel too late, you get a lot of excess emulsion around your design. So peeling this is key. And what I'm going to do is, again, let it cool. And I want to give it about 30 seconds to cool down before I attempt to peel the backing sheet. Now, since I have this area here that I know is unprinted, I'm going to pick this corner and kind of give myself a corner to grip so that as I peel, it makes it easier to grab and go, so to speak. And what we can do is kind of cheat up to the edge. And if it looks like it's releasing clean, which this one seems to be, wow. Just kind of hold it up here. That looks awesome. Yeah, for a very first attempt with that type of paper, using this DK14, that's an awesome looking result. Bo, if you can get it back to me. Digital pyrometer. Checking the platen temperature now. And while this thing is checking, like I said, as far as this press is concerned, it's 110, 120 volts, so it'll plug right into your basic wall outlet. It only draws 10 amps, so from an on-site perspective, it's going to use a little less power than some of the other heat presses that are on the market. Looks pretty good. So as far as this press is concerned, I would definitely give this press a big thumbs up. It is a tremendous improvement compared to the old jet press series, and I think if you needed a portable press, this thing would be awesome to have in your portable setup as you go from site to site, cashing in on all those orders. So I hope you enjoyed this quick presentation on the new George Knight DK14S. It is available through Condé. Contact your Condé Systems account manager for more information, or if you want to go ahead and get this press on order. Make sure to tune in 2 weeks to our next episode of the T-shirt Transfer Paper Power Half Hour. In that episode, we're going to be talking about the importance of using a silicone sheet in a finishing press, and we're going to give some live demonstrations to show that importance. So I hope you tune in 2 weeks, and until then, I'm Doug DeWitt, Transfer Paper Product Manager here at Condé Systems. My time is up, but I thank you for yours.